Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Kids Deserve It. I'll give everybody a couple of seconds to get joined in here before we get started. This week we will be talking about Chapter 18 of Kids Deserve It, Never Stop. Before we get started, I always love seeing where some of our guests are from. So if you want to go ahead and type in where you're from, I always love just kind of looking at where across the country or sometimes the world where people are from. Brenham, of course. Hey, Lauren's on here. And the cornfields, of course, Jordan. And Garland, Arizona, Florida. Love that. I love seeing when people are from different parts of the country listening in. So thank you everybody for joining in for another discussion of Kids Deserve It. This week is chapter 18. And this chapter is another one of those chapters that's pretty short. And so it's one of those that we try to get right to the point with and jump in and share some things. Always love to say that if you're watching this and you find value in it, I hope that you will slide across and share this on social media with your followers as well. Adam and I both always like to share the Kids Deserve It message with as many people as possible. So thank you all for always joining in and taking part. This chapter is a chapter called Never Stop. And it's one of those chapters that deals with, we all have those days where we think that nothing went right, that there was mistake after mistake after mistake, and we begin to wonder, can I do this? Can I keep putting up with this? Can I keep dealing with this? And I often think about the students that I serve, which is a very population that deals with a lot of abandonment and a lot of things like that. And I think I've shared this story before, but I will always remember my first year being principal where I'm at. And a teacher came up to me crying, and I asked her what was wrong. And she had said, every day these kids ask me if I'm coming back tomorrow. She said, I can't even imagine what's happened to them to make them think that as their teacher, I wouldn't be back the next day. And after doing my research, I had learned that group of students had 7 teachers the year before. And when I think about what that does to a 4th grader or a 5th grader about having that many teachers, I mean, it really is hard to deal with the wondering of, are you going to come back? And are we going to push you away? And is it us or is it you? And I remember my first year as a principal, there was a teacher that was just having a lot of issues with things, and she was a first-year teacher a couple months in, and I got an email on a Sunday night that said, I can't take this job anymore. I'm not meant for this. I'm not coming back. And it just broke my heart to have to go to school the next day knowing that there wasn't going to be a teacher in that child's class, that we were going to have to hire a sub. And we had to be really careful with the way that we let the kids know about how things were going to work out, because you don't want to tell the kids that a teacher just up and quit. But we had to tell them that, she wasn't going to be coming back. There was some family things that she had to deal with or whatever. But it was a really good lesson and a reminder for me that these kids expect us to be here every day. And now that I work on a campus with littles as well, little pre-Kers and kindergartners, there's so many days where I'll put a kindergartner in a car at the end of the day, and they just say, "Oh, I can't wait to see you tomorrow, Mr. Neslony," or "Make sure you find me in the morning and tell me hello, Mr. Neslony." And it's kind of one of those things that I'm like, even on days like today, where I feel like there were more misses than hits, it's nice to have those little reminders that they expect us to keep returning and keep coming back. And that we have to be there standing tall, because what do we do when we teach kids to walk away? We teach them to quit, and that we teach them that it's okay to just walk away when things get too hard, or when you don't like the people, or when you don't feel like it's for you. And the example we use in the chapter is thinking about people like Thomas Edison, Martin Luther King Jr., Oprah Winfrey, people who had, just like all of us, plenty of reasons to walk away from what they were doing or what they were trying to accomplish. But if you think about those people, and if they had walked away, we'd be without so many great opportunities and experiences and lessons to learn from them. And so it's important that we do the same thing and that we don't quit either. And then I think about to the example we use in this chapter about how what teaching is like, and how it's like climbing a mountain with a really heavy backpack in the snow. And that there's so many times where that backpack feels too heavy and we don't think we can take another step up the hill, and the snow feels too deep and it's too cold, but we have to keep climbing. We have to lace up our boots. We have to lean on those around us. We have to let people help us. But we also have to remember that we got into this education for a reason, and that is to impact lives in future generations. And I was talking to one of my good principal friends today, and he made such a great point. He said, you know what? I had a conversation with the teacher today. And he said, and every single part of that conversation was about how everything affected them. He said, never did it come to the conversation about anything affected the kids. And it just reminded me that that's a point, he said, for me, when I know I have to step out of education, is when everything has become about me and it's no longer all about the kids. And so every once in a while, when things get difficult and we don't think that we can make it through, and we don't think that we can come back the next day, or that we have done a lot of things right, that's when it's easy to focus on what's not going well. And it's easy to keep that at the forefront of our mind. But that is the most important time, when it is for us to focus on what is going right and what we have to be thankful for. And one of the challenges we have at the end of this chapter is to make a list of all the reasons that you became an educator. But my challenge is, more than just making that list, post it somewhere where you can see it every single day. Because our kids deserve every ounce of energy, enthusiasm, passion, motivation, caring, creativity that we can put together. They deserve us to bring our best every day, just like we talked about in a chapter before about leaving it in the car. We have to bring our best. The rough days, the difficult days, they're coming. They happen. That's just a fact of life. But it's all in how we choose to respond in those days. And so when you think about hearing that question of, will you come back tomorrow? I personally want to make sure that my answer is always a very clear yes. Of course I'm coming back tomorrow, and of course I'm going to come back the next day, because my kids at my campus, they deserve us to be there every single day, investing in them and being a part of their lives. I hope that you guys join our Twitter chat at 8 o'clock tonight. Don't forget also that we're in the middle of our KDI 5 Days of Christmas. So if you go to our website, kidsdeserveit.com, you can see we've already done our first challenge on Facebook and given out some bracelets. And we're in the midst of our second challenge now. If you've signed up for our email listserv, you got the challenge there. And we also, until Sunday, are selling our Kids Deserve It baseball tees, Kids Deserve It women's V-neck, and our brand new Kids Deserve It hoodies. So you can go check out those. All the proceeds go to Donors Choose. Hope to see you on social media. Talk to you soon.